This is the feminine takeover of this podcast right now.
We have no particular topic. We're just going to maybe meander
Amazing,
around.
perfect.
See
we'll find the topic. Yes.
I listened to some of your conversation with, what was that woman's name?
I believe her name's Suhan.
Suhan. Okay.
I really hope so because we're live on this right now.
Please. You were such a great interviewer / conversationalist. So I was half sleeping behind, listening, kind of meandering in and out. But you're really good at asking questions that are not too pointed, but broad enough to let people go where they want to go. Yeah. And I feel like the art of conversation is actually something I've been observing in different people recently because it is a skill, kind of.
It is a skill.
And active listening is such something you can work on, but that not everybody has.
No, I mean not initially, right?
Not initially.
Yeah.
Exactly. I feel like the podcasts that I've listened to the best are always the ones where it just seems like a completely organic conversation. Right. But they're not oftentimes they'll have notes and stuff, but it seems totally natural. You know?
Yeah. You know, it's funny you mentioned that because this is an edge for me. I've spent a lot of my life, I was talking to her about my wounds and some of the things that I carry, not knowing, not having friends, not having community that really felt safe. And a big part of that actually came from social anxiety for me. That I was experiencing up until I came to the lake for actually quite significantly. This is kind of the last piece I had to unlock, but a lot of fear around just having a conversation with somebody and feeling so much anxiety because I would find myself for some reason caught in this loop of sitting here with you and having literally no idea what to say to you, not having any questions. My mind would just go.
And that would cause you anxiety because of the silence or because of the, what does this mean about me if I don't know what to say? Where did that come from?
Because of the energetics of the experience, right? So I'm sitting there and all of a sudden you're, looking at me and I'm it's awkward. It's uncomfortable. And then you're
yeah, true.
And I'm
and when
someone just want to run away,
the other it kind of does change the energy a little bit. I feel that.
Yeah, or I'm listening to you and then I don't know how to respond. I'm no idea. Yeah. So that's a really nice compliment. Thank you. And I would say that coming to this lake, I've only been here it's February. So February, March, April, May, June. So almost 5 months. So what is mid-June right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Time.
No,
crazy.
July.
Is it July?
Yeah.
Weird. You're right, July 11th.
July.
Wow.
As if they hadn't repeated it so many times that we should have had it in the front of our brain. They only said it 5,000 times.
Oh, God. Time is very weird here. It's very weird. Yes, so I've been here over 5 months now, amazingly. And when I came here, I was from Tulum. I came from Tulum for 2 months. I was there. Yeah. And I had the worst time. Not the worst time, but I just had the worst time trying to connect with people. I really struggled. It can be, and I have some thoughts and feelings about Tulum. However, I really hit these walls all the time. I would sit there with somebody and I would try to connect, and I would just draw a blank, and it just caused this feedback loop of I didn't even want to because I was so, the anxiety feedback loop happens. You get anxiety about getting anxiety.
And it snowballs and then you're in it.
And then now you're having, and nothing even happened, but you're just in an anxiety, pit.
You're talking about a microphone?
Totally.
You bring the mic too close to the speaker and it starts resonating, getting louder and louder, and it's just the anxiety about the anxiety.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Snowball effects.
Yeah, snowball effects. So having that and then coming here and just the energy of the lake, just the open-hearted authenticity of people, and just witnessing that really broke the spiral, because what you need to break that anxiety loop, at least in my experience, is just new experiences to rewrite the story.
Totally.
You just have to rewrite it.
Totally.
Because it's just a story. It's just a script in your head that you're just playing out, and the more you play it out, the more solidified that pattern becomes.
It becomes reinforced.
It
100%.
does. Yeah. So shifting that, and just experiencing authenticity so many times really helps.
Do you think that's something that will be challenging for you to integrate once and if you leave the lake? Because we are in a lot of ways, of course this is reality. Everyone talks about my travel life, my real life. This is real life. And we do have to appreciate, I think this is a distinct moment in time and a very special kind of community that maybe opens the door for that a little more.
Yeah. This is a really great question because I actually was gone for a month. I went back to Tulum for 2 weeks and I went back to my home in Oregon for 2.5 weeks. Yeah. And this is a big question I had going back. Am I going to be, I just expanded into this new self. It's very different. I feel like I've totally transformed in an expansion way. I'm still me, but much bigger. Yeah. I have that openness, open-heartedness. Is it going to last? Am I going to go back in these spaces where I have these patterns? How is it going to feel? And it was challenging. I was in Tulum, and I was out, and I had similar experiences. And what I realized through that is that it's a two-way street. Like, I can show up with that level of love and that level of presence, but if another person or the experience or the environment is not conducive, then I can only do so much. So I can sit here and try to have a conversation with somebody that's genuinely uninteresting to me.
Or just closed off.
Or just closed
like,
off.
They're not open to communication.
That's honestly.
And it's not even always their fault. It's an unconscious thing. I don't think people intend it.
Yeah, and I don't think they either do either. And there's a resonance thing here. It's like, well, we're just not in resonance, and that's okay. But I did experience similar things, but I had a new lens, which was like, this isn't me. This is just a misalignment in the energy. And I don't have to put my energy in places where it doesn't have that. And I went back to the States, and I did notice there were moments where I was like, ooh, I'm like hitting on this old thing because I'm in an old environment that I've spent my entire life in, with the community I've spent in my entire life in, you know,
deeply ingrained ways
deeply
of being.
ingrained, right? But I carried this new frequency in there, and I did see a shift for myself. Much more open-hearted, much more curious, much more, you know. And I think and I hope the more time that I spend here expanding, the easier it will be for me to go.
100%.
Back there,
well, because it'll reinforce that way of being.
Exactly.
And I've thought about this a lot actually too, because there's certain things in my life where like I've dealt with, I don't know, heartbreak or a part of myself that I don't like so much, and you know, you really work on it. You travel or you go through therapy, you do whatever you need to do. And you get to the other side of it and you're like, wow, like I don't have this issue anymore, or it doesn't feel like that anymore. But then life is long, and like life is going to throw you a bunch of challenges, and I found a couple times where like the same problems or the same issues that I thought I had dealt with come back again, and instinctively I've made myself so wrong for not being able to have already gotten over it. You know what I mean? Like, why am I dealing with this again? I thought I already did that work. And the more I thought about it, and the more I've kind of communicated with like close women in my life about it, it's like, you might just have some issues that you're going to have to deal with a couple times, and like maybe if you go home and some of these feelings of social anxiety come up again, that's okay. It just means that you get to learn that lesson again in a different way. And that doesn't invalidate the work that you did before. It just means that life is evolving and challenges are evolving. You know, and you're responding to it always. And that's something that like I have to try and repeat to myself, because I'm going home soon. I'm going home on Wednesday.
Crazy.
And it's so crazy. I know. And I'm going to do 2-week quarantine, and then I'm going to go into this like intense legal career that like is a very
there's a good reason for you to go back.
Totally, and it makes sense for me to go back now, but I've also thought a lot about like, well, how do I reintegrate some of the kind of new creative listening spaces or like ways of being that I've embraced into a life that, I don't know, wasn't really present in that before, you know? So like, how do you bring authenticity and like active listening into the legal industry that's so focused on competition, that's so focused on like return on investment, go, like productivity? Am I gonna deal with these issues again? Probably. And I'll call you and we can have this conversation again. You know what I mean? But I'm like, I know that these things are gonna come up, and I'm just kind of like, that's just an opportunity for me to work on it again. You
so
know?
I had an experience like that in Tulum, and what I recognized that it's actually, it's not a mental construct. It's actually an energetic experience that you're having that's different here. And when we're in those spaces, like I was in Tulum and I was out at this place, and this dance place, and I used to go there a lot. Well, no, I went there a few times when I was there before, and every single time I wanted to leave. I did not enjoy myself energetically. I always felt something was always off. It's beautiful, it was awesome, but I just like,
you'll know.
I just disliked it. And I noticed I was getting judgmental, and I was in my head, and I was doing all the old things, and I was like, damn it, I thought I like transmuted this, like
100%.
It's fucking back, like damn it, like. And we left, and I was getting really irritated, and this guy was following us around, and he's drunk, and then he's like, let's go over here and meditate, and we're like walking down the beach, and it's like empty beach place, like a place to sit in a hammock. He like sits on me, I get mad at him, and he's like, we're gonna do meditation. He's never meditated in his life. Like,
literally, of course.
And my friend, my co-founder of Chrysalis, Chelsea, one of my best friends, she was there too, and she leads meditations all the time. So he's like, I'm gonna lead you into meditation.
Me, I do it.
It was actually really cute. It was really cute. Okay. He led us on a chakra meditation, which he made up new chakras, mixed them up, changed the colors, and but it was like it was literally the funniest meditation. I laughed my face off, but I like loved it. And what I noticed was that as he was moving, I was doing the work. I was moving through all the chakras, and when I got to my heart, I noticed that I wasn't there. All my energy was like up
elsewhere,
in this space, in my head, like in my brain, and I got to my heart, and I was like, whoa. And I put my heart and my presence, my intention, I put my awareness there, and I felt all of my body change. I felt my whole energy system change. I felt like before that, I was so depleted. I was like, I was an empty battery. And it was irritating me. You know, when you go on empty, you're just like, everything's like, don't touch me, I hate this, like, oh, it's itchy, like, it's like so annoying. Everything's annoying. But when you're in your heart, everything. You have infinite, like the heart is
infinite capacity, compassion. And everything kind of melts away once you actually connect with that.
Yeah.
It is hard though.
It is hard, and it's hard to remember because I was being stimulated, I was being aggravated, I was, he was drunk, he was sitting on me, he was wet. I hate when people are wet. So I'm a cat, like I really hate it. And like there were all these, annoying things, and I was out of my heart. And I went into my heart, and my energy changed, and I was like, oh, that's how I do this. That's how I hold the frequency of this energy that I have here at the lake. Yeah. It's not about like making sure that I ask the right questions. It's not about being curious.
It's not about looking good. It's not about doing it right.
It's not about the things that I gotta do. It's about the energy that I'm embodying. Yeah. Because that's what creates openness. Like if I sit here with you and I'm in my heart, you will intuitively and energetically sense that and respond from that place. If I'm over here in my head, you're gonna feel that too. Yeah. So I don't know what it's like in the legal world. I'm sure that's more complicated. I'll let you know. Yeah. But I can imagine that being able to work with your heart, being able to work with the energy, it will impact the people around you. Yeah. And will help them to open up more.
100%. You can transform the space you're in so much just by your way of being, and that's like a power that we actually don't know that we have. Yeah, we don't. I was talking to Will about this just recently. Like, there's so many times in your life and my life and all of our lives we might have said something at the right place, right time, right moment for one person, and we don't even know, we don't even realize, and that moment actually really impacted them. Yeah. And so I had a friend who messaged me recently, like someone who I haven't seen in like 5 years, and they sent me this long Facebook message about this conversation that we'd had and this particular thing that I'd said to them, and how it like changed the course of their life. Wow. And I did not remember that conversation. I had that I was like so happy, but remind me when that was. But it just goes to show, like, you never know who needs to hear what at what time, and just by being your authentic self, whatever that means, it opens up doors for other people too. Totally.
And even more amazing level, I think that there's an energy here too, because what you were just saying earlier before the story, like you were saying, our energy impacts the world around us, and that can happen on a nonverbal level in a significant way. So, for example, when we were at the party on Friday, at your guys' place, actually, there was a guy, and I was sitting next to my friend Carson, and he came up, and he started to he stood between her legs, and he was leaning in, and he was getting really. And I just was, like, not having it at all. And I noticed, I checked in, and I was getting irritated. Yeah. I was like, okay, irritation. Yeah. I checked in, and I was like, okay, my body posture right now is I'm allowing this to happen. I'm allowing him to come in and penetrate this energy. So I made a conscious decision, and I started to sit up straight. I changed my posture, and then I started to send consciously energy of move back. This is my space. Yeah. Of like, move back.
Yeah, like you are not.
Yeah, and I wasn't. It was super very subtle. He didn't see me or anything. I didn't give him a look like fuck you. Yeah. Like I was just sending it telepathically to him and also energetically. And I watched him lean back, take one step back, take another step back, and I was like, okay. Yeah. Okay.
He received the message.
He received it, yeah. And this is the subtle things, when we're noticing our environment is being impacted, and it's easy to notice it, right? If you're having a bad day, and all of a sudden, like everybody around you is like,
oh god,
you feel so bad. You're like, I'm sorry, like I'm just in a bad mood, like I'm sorry, just stay away from me. I'm dangerous right now. Yeah. Everybody,
I'm the landmine taking time off. Don't you see?
Yeah, like everybody I'm affecting, But it also it works the same way. So your environment, whatever, like how do we affect our environment in the positive? So okay, let's check in with our hearts. This experience is getting really intense. What does it mean to come back? Okay. Now I'm in my heart. Okay, now what does it feel like to send love? Yeah. What does it feel like to send protection, love, compassion? What does it feel like? And I had another experience, this is really intense, at my party on Friday, where I had to confront somebody about theft. Oh. Yeah. And I did. I confronted somebody about theft. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was a very intense experience. Yeah. In a good way. But the thing is, I came from love, right? I sat in front of him and I said, with love, did you steal from this person? And I need to search your bags. And the only reason it didn't turn into a big conflict is because I anchored deep in that love frequency. Yeah. And he could feel that. And when he started to get agitated, I sent out love some more through my body, through my energy, through my eyes. And I said, I know this is hard. I'm not accusing you. I just need to know that there's nothing in your bag.
And I need you to be honest.
And I need you to be honest with me.
Yeah.
You know, from love. And firm, not like, ooh, I'm scared. But like, I will protect my space.
Yeah.
And I will do it with love. Mm-hmm. You know, and that really, I mean, it all worked out in the end as good as it could be.
Yeah.
But it was it was a really, really powerful experience of, you know, continuing to anchor into what is the frequency we're emitting. Yeah. Because we can choose that.
So I've thought about this so much recently. Like, we are completely active and willing participants in our own life.
Oh, absolutely.
And so often, like, when friends will call me up or people are having issues and they're like, oh, well, it's like this, and so I just don't have a choice, or I'm some sort of, like, I'm at the whim of the world, and it's like, a lot of things you can't control, but you can always control your response. And if it's not instantaneous, if that love doesn't come automatically, well, not everyone's good at yoga the first time. Not everyone's good at meditation the first time. Like, it's about being like actively cultivating something in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, because like we actually are completely responsible for our experience and for the way that others receive us.
Yeah.
And the more we harness that, it's actually like, it's confronting, because you're like, oh my God, I can choose how, like,
everything's my fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything's your fault. Isn't
Exactly.
that great? You're liberated. Like, you have a superpower. Literally,
you're not at the whim of the world.
Your life is entirely yours.
Yeah.
And this is amazing, because I think this is actually one of the first and most important and most challenging things right now in our world of waking up.
100%.
Because when you realize how much we've lived in victimhood, like through society, through our families, through everything, victimhood is like a poison.
The victim there, and it doesn't help, like,